Hey guys, welcome to another lunchtime review. Today I'm going to try this Luvo steam in pouch. These are new as far as I know, at least I've never seen them before. It's the turkey meatloaf and mashed potatoes with collard greens, butternut squash, and cranberries. The picture looks pretty good. We'll see how it works. Product of Canada, which is interesting. This was $3.99 at Kroger, so they had a bunch of different flavors. I got 2 of the steam in pouches. I think they had other ones, but I wasn't interested in them. These sounded really good. So, the bad thing is about these is when you do them at work, you have to pour the bag out on a plate. So I'm using a regular plate at home for lunch today instead of a paper plate. I guess you could pour it out on a paper plate, but we'll see how much liquid's there. Unless you had a styrofoam plate or something, that might not work too good. 290 calories, not bad at all. Sodium's actually really good too. So overall, everything's pretty decent on here. Cooking directions. It says you can do it in the oven if you want to. Of course, we don't do things in the oven. We do everything in the microwave. So place the pouch seam side up on a microwave safe plate. I'll just use the same plate. Cook on 7 to 8 minutes. I'll do it in the middle and do 7.5. Let it set for 60 seconds to lock in flavors. It also helps it finish cooking and to even the heating out. And then cut the pouch open and slide meal onto plate. Be careful because it'll be hot. And they kind of show you a pictorial view of it, of doing it. So 7.5 minutes with the seam side up on this plate. Yeah, I was expecting it to be a clear bag. I don't know why. There's no indication it was a clear bag, but that's what I was expecting it to be. So anyway, this is it. Seam side goes up. Do they give you directions on here too? They do give you directions on here too. Just in case you don't have the box, it says this side up. Cool. So I'm gonna get this in the microwave. Like I said, I'm gonna stick it on this this regular plate and microwave it, and I'll be back. So this came out of the microwave. I let it set. It probably set in there actually. It says 60 seconds. I probably left it in there instead of a minute. I probably left it in there 2 minutes, but pretty close. So I've got a pair of scissors. I'm just gonna cut the end off, and I wanted you to see what I see. Okay, there's the meatloaf. All right, problem number 1, getting it to come out. How are you supposed to do that? It says slide it out. Well, it doesn't slide out of anything. So I'm gonna have to rip this open and scrape it out. So this is what it looks like. Yeah, nothing slid out anywhere. So I'm gonna get, looks kind of gross, kind of looks like a baby diaper. So I'm gonna get my fork and scrape it out. I won't be able to do it with my hand, the camera in the way, but I'll be right back. Okay, I looked on the directions just to make sure I was doing it correctly, that I wasn't supposed to rip it across the top. It literally says cut the end off, slide the meal out, and enjoy. So it just didn't want to slide out. It was stuck. So I scraped it all out. It looks awful. Just piled up, everything mixed together. Guido, of course, decides to walk across the room every time. So I'm gonna try some mashed potatoes first. I couldn't pull just mashed potatoes out, but I got a little bit of green in there, but that's the best I could do. It's okay. They're not spectacular, but they're not bad. I cut the meatloaf into pieces, and you can see the texture is very, very dense, very close. So we'll see how they work. The texture reminds you of a regular meatloaf when you eat it. It's got a decent spice to it. I mean, not like hot spice, but just the savory spices that taste pretty good. They could give you a little bit more gravy on it. It's not dry, but it could benefit for some gravy just for the extra flavor. I like the meatloaf okay. Just know that the texture is different than a ground beef. Let me try some of the squash and vegetables. Yeah, it's definitely a different texture than a beef. It's not as, the pieces aren't as, the grain is not as big. I guess it's more finely grained meat, the turkey is, than a ground beef is. But overall, it's got a good flavor. And I don't mind the texture, but some people would have an issue with the texture. So this has squash, looks like corn, and the collard green. So I generally like greens, collard greens, kales, that kind of stuff with vinegar because that's how I was raised. I don't know if everybody eats it like that, but I'll always that's how I was raised to eat it with vinegar. So doesn't have vinegar on it. And it's pretty good. It's got a decent flavor to it. It's not overly green tasting. It's not raw. Really, it doesn't add much flavor at all. I'm trying to identify what flavor you really get out of that. I really just taste like the mashed potato kind of gravy flavor. It really doesn't have, you really don't taste the vegetables. I mean, I guess you get a little bit of that collard green flavor, but not much. So the best thing out of this meal is probably the meatloaf. Flavor-wise, it's good. Yeah, like I said, some people have issues with the texture because it's a very fine grain. It could have some more flavor, honestly. It's the meatloaf itself with the gravy is pretty good. It has a decent savory spice, but anytime you get a piece that doesn't have any gravy on it, or if you get vegetables that don't have any gravy on them, the flavor's kind of bland. So for this meal, it wasn't very expensive. What was $2 something a meal? Not very much cost-wise, not very much in calories either. It is kind of a pain to heat up because I don't know that I would dump this on a paper plate. I guess if you had a paper plate, if you had a couple of them, you double them up, you could pour this onto a paper plate. I have another one of these. I'm going to try it again, just like the directions say, and pour it out on the end. But for this particular meal, I think I would recommend opening the top seam and just eating it right out of the pouch. Honestly, you could eat it straight out of the pouch and not have to even pour it on a plate. That's just my personal opinion on this particular one. The other one might be different, so we'll see. Got to rate it. I don't know. Like I said, the flavors with the meatloaf, with the gravy is really good. Otherwise, it's kind of bland. So I'm going to give it a 3. It's an okay meal. It's I wish the flavors were all through. I wish the vegetables had more of a flavor to them. Beyond that, it's just kind of bland. So hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.